So I'm trying to get myself prepared for this video because I knew it was coming and I knew a lot of you knew it was coming, but it seems so surreal now that it's actually happening. So today I'm going to be doing a full series review of the Pendragon series by DJ MacHale. Let's dive right into it. So if you didn't know, the Pendragon series is a 10-book series. It's a massive book series, and the books are The Merchant of Death, The Lost City of Fayar, The Never War, The Reality Bug, Black Water, The Rivers of Zada, The Quillen Games, The Pilgrims of Rain, Raven Rise, and the final one, The Soldiers of Hala, which I just barely finished and totally didn't cry over. Where'd you get that idea from? Yeah, so I just want to say that I am sick. I did stay home from school today, and I just barely finished this book, so I was sobbing. And not to say that the ending was necessarily sad. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys because this is a massive series, and I want everyone to read it. This series is a big commitment, and it's a commitment I'm so glad that I made because it's just a wonderful story to add to my collection up here of stories that I've experienced. Yay! I started reading this series a long time ago. I don't know, I started reading it possibly a year or two ago. It was a long time in the making, and I didn't read them all. I remember I bought the first book, and then I bought the second one after I read the first, and then I kind of bought them two at a time over long periods of time. So it's like I've grown up with Bobby. I'm pretty sure I was 14 because I remember thinking that Bobby and I are the same age. So yeah, it was probably 2 years ago that I started reading this series, and now I'm 16 and almost 16 and a half. So it's been a long journey with Bobby Pendragon. But yeah, to basically sum up what this is basically about, these are a collection of 37 journals through space and time by Bobby Pendragon. Bobby finds out at the young age of 14 that he is a traveler. His Uncle Press tells him, hey, let's go for a ride on my motorcycle. Yeah, you can't make that basketball game, we gotta go. And he figures out that there is multiple worlds. And basically he meets up with this bad guy called Saint Dane who wants to change all of these worlds, or Hala, which consist of 10 territories, and he wants to remake them in his own way to something that he thinks is a better Hala overall. Bobby finds out that he is the traveler from Second Earth, which is where we are. There are 10 territories, and he meets the travelers from each one throughout his journey. Basically, he tries to stop Saint Dane from destroying all of Hala and just wreaking havoc, because Saint Dane is a seriously bad dude. That's a really watered down description because this is such a big book series. I wish I had reviewed all of these as I had read them, but I started reading these series before I started BookTube, so that kind of left it out of the equation. But maybe someday I definitely will reread these, and if I'm still doing BookTube, I definitely want to do a one-by-one book review of this series. And I possibly could, but like I said, I read these books over long periods of time. First off, I want to get the praise up there. This book series is fantastic, and in fact, I'm going to give it super high praise. This is the highest praise I can give right now, because this book series is right up there with Percy Jackson. Oh Lord. That's right, I love this series almost as much as I love Percy Jackson, because when I first started reading, it reminded me of Percy and what I missed about that. Basically because the narrator, Bobby, he tells you the story through his journals. These books are told through Bobby's journals on his fantastic journey through space and time. So it felt like I was really talking with someone, like he was telling me his story. But anyways, I gotta give props to DJ MacHale because he created 10 different worlds. And, when I first read the series, I'm like, okay, there's this flume that goes to this territory, Denderin. Okay, that's what's going to happen. He's going to have to save Denderin. There's these two worlds. I mean, that's what you're used to, right? Like, the character usually finds another world. Crazy. But no, he finds 10. There's 10 worlds. And I have to give props to DJ MacHale because he does such wonderful world building for all of them. And that's what I love the most, is that he had awesome world building, and usually it didn't take up enough time. There's some times where it did get a little lengthy, but overall, like, you need this to understand what's going on, right? You gotta make some sacrifices. It can't all be boom boom firepower all the time. So yeah, all of these settings were perfectly well done, and I also liked how this book series was not predictable. The plot was so intricate. It took me completely by surprise. After the first 3 books, you thought you knew what was going to go on. Saint Dane's going to come to this territory, says that he's going to get the turning point for it, and he's going to, like, turn, like, the way it was meant to be. He said he was going to, like, just destroy it, like, make everything go wrong on this territory, and what ends up is Bobby stops it. Well, and this is kind of a spoiler, but not entirely, because it's still at the 4th book. There's a lot more to come after. But anyways, you get to the 4th book, and it doesn't happen. That's the first territory that Bobby lost. And, you think that's how it's going to go. It's just going to, like, chip away. St. Dane's going to get more evil plots, and, Bobby's just going to keep defeating him. But no, Bobby loses. He loses. And I think that is extremely important. We don't see main characters lose a lot like Bobby does. Like, he's not a loser. I'm not going to say that. He does a lot of amazing things and still triumphs over a lot of tough stuff, and he still persists. He does lose. He doesn't win every single one of these territories, and then by the end, a lot of things start going bad, and he realizes that Saint Dane is always, like, 10 steps ahead of him. Like, it's ridiculous. Saint Dane is probably one of the greatest villains I've ever read about. Like, honestly, he's probably up there in my top 3. I won't say he's my favorite, because I have a lot of cool villains that I like, but Saint Dane is one seriously twisted up dude. And you realize that, maybe his intentions weren't completely bad at one point, but when they did turn around, they turned around bad, and this is what Saint Dane has become. One of the most evilest villains. Like, he's so willing to twist everyone to do what he thinks is the right thing. And he's kind of convincing at some points, which is the scary part. But overall, you know that in the end he's wrong. And, you gotta stick to your morals. Yeah, I also love Bobby as a main character because he almost gives up at some points, and that's totally, like, okay, because what he's going through is not easy. And I also liked, I liked all of the Travelers. Spader is my #1 man. He's just fantastic. I loved Lore. She was a badass girl, but, she also wasn't just straight badass. She had layers to her, and I really liked that. Gunny was awesome. Uncle Press was he ticked me off a little bit, but, in the end he pulled through, so, yeah. Alder was great. All of them, okay? Asia, all these characters, like the Travelers, the supporting characters. Mark and Courtney are my favorites, like, of all time. Courtney reminded me so much of me because she did have this episode where, she got into high school and she felt really depressed because, she wasn't as good on the sports teams as she thought she was, and, just things started to go downhill for her, and, she went into, like, this depression, and I related so much to that because that's almost exactly what happened to me when I got into my freshman year. I mean, I didn't think I was the best player of sports, but, I wasn't that good, and there was just, it was frustrating. Like, a lot of things were frustrating that year, and I related to her so much more. And I love Courtney because she's really a strong character. And I know that getting out of that funk takes a really strong spirit, and I'm glad to see that Courtney had it. And Mark, my baby Mark. I love Mark. He was definitely a real character, and I loved seeing his character develop from this little timid guy with glasses and, like, really nerdy, and going into this person who really made a difference in the end. And just, beautiful. I really loved all the characters in this book series. I mean, you gotta give props to DJ MacHale because there are a lot of characters that all got time in these book series, all got time to develop, and you know, they came back. There's characters that came back that you didn't think were going to be that relevant. The book series made me cry, made me laugh, made me really think about life values and like naturally being good or evil or stuff like all this cosmic stuff that can sometimes get you a little but oh my god, this was an incredible series. And if you haven't heard of Pendragon or read it, I mean, if you have heard of it and haven't read it, what the heck are you doing? Go pick it up. I mean, I put this series up here with Percy Jackson, people. This is important. You need to read this book series. Just these characters, I mean, they all had flaws and they all had their high points. And it's just amazing to see how they grew and how they all came together in the end to hopefully stop the evil that is Saint Dane. There's not really more to say. It's just, it really is something incredible. So overall, I really enjoyed this series. And I'm super excited to hopefully see some of you read it because I really want to talk to you guys about this series. And I know that it's not well known. It's been out for a long time, and I'm kicking myself for never having heard of this series. Like, come on, BookTube, where were you? I picked up this series all by myself in the bookstore. I read it on the shelf and I was like, this sounds really good. Read the entire series. It's freaking amazing. How is this not popular? I put it up there with Percy Jackson. It should be popular. So yeah, DJ MacHale, I hope to someday meet him because he is an amazing author. One of my favorites. Guys, you have to read Pendragon. It is 5 out of 5 stars, without a doubt. One of my favorite book series of all time. It's a really bittersweet moment for me right now because I am happy that I've read this entire series and I can say that I've read it and have this journey in my heart with me for as long as I live. But you know, it's so sad because I never wanted this book series to end. I could have had the last book done yesterday, but I couldn't do it because I wasn't ready to let go yet. That's how attached I was to these books. And I think reading them over this long period of time was really hard for me. You know, I love Percy Jackson, but I read the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series in a week. And now reading the Heroes of Olympus series over time, that's going to be hard to let go when the Blood of Olympus comes out next month. Holy crap. I can't believe it's over. I really can't. So, I guess, in the end, what else do we say but, and so we go. Have a great day, guys. Read these books, and I'll see you all later. Bye.